This is crazy. Let's do it. Looks like we lost Emma. Okay, give me a sec. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's get Emma back on the call so can we can get this going. We lost her, but I'm gonna bring her right back. So let's keep it. Just give me a sec. Let me call her back, and we're gonna have this fun continue. So, for those of you who couldn't really hear what she was saying when she was talking about the Power Virtual Agent, so Power Virtual Agent is it's a low code bot service from from Microsoft that allows you to create bots, which it's called virtual agent with minimal or no code at all, and it's good for those getting into wanting to build intelligent bots with an AI mixed in that reduces your footprint into getting into bot development. That's the tool for you. So let's see if we can have Emma back, and let's go here, and we're gonna call her again, and hopefully we can get her. So, calling her right on the show. Hopefully you've got yourself either a glass, a pint, whatever that is that you want to drink. Emma, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Awesome,
Let me
awesome.
make sure.
We lost you
Hold
in
on, let
a
me just
for a
do
moment
something
there.
here.
So let's see. I'm going to give you back control, and you can go back. You continue with the sharing. So it's all yours.
Perfect. Yeah. Yep. The joys of doing things live, eh, Sam?
I know, right?
Okay, let's try this. All right, so you should be able to see the Power Virtual Agent screen. And what we'll do is I'm just going to break down all the different components of Power Virtual Agent so everybody kind of understands what all is involved in building one of these kind of bots. So what you'll see here is on the left-hand side, you have all your different components. You have your topics. So your topics are basically those kind of questions that you're asking your end user to answer, and then the topics will contain a lot of that conditional logic and stuff in there that you're building to determine different answers. So topics are going to be your core component of Power Virtual Agent. Entities are a little bit more tricky to get around, especially because of the wording here. I think a lot of us coming from the Power Apps community, or if you're coming from like Dynamics or something like that, entities kind of mean something a little bit different to us. But entities in this case are going to be something that defines, how do I explain this in a way that makes sense? Something that is very definitive. So a great way of looking at this is your examples here, like your age, your Boolean, almost like what's the word I'm looking for? Variable types in this case.
Yeah,
actually, that's a really great way of explaining it. If anybody works in programming, it's kind of like a variable type. And you can actually set your own variable type too. So if you work in an industry that's very, very specific, like let's say you work in you are a computer hardware store, and certain things are going to be very common knowledge between yourself and your customers, like the word CPU, for example, or RAM or something like that. These are words that you anticipate your end users typing into your chat. It's a good idea to create those as entities because it kind of makes the natural language understanding of the bot a lot easier. So a couple of different things there. In my case, I haven't really needed to build any custom entity. I could probably build one called beer, because that way the bot will know what an actual item of beer is. I can assign it like a value or dollar amounts and all that kind of stuff too. So a couple of things about entities. Your analytics is going to be when, I don't think I have anything in here. Maybe I do. It's loading up some stuff. So your analytics are going to show you exactly how well your bot is performing. So I think if I pop that back by a month, we'll see, update, see how it's doing. This bot isn't live yet for my brewery, so a lot of this data is dummy data or test data in here, but it's basically telling you how your bot is performing, how many sessions you've got, your engagement rate, which is really great, so you can know, are people following the bot all the way through? And also it gathers some sentiment analysis as well. So when somebody completes a path in their Power Virtual Agent, it will also ask them, was this helpful? Was this not helpful? And then as an admin, you kind of get an idea as to what topics are doing really well, what topics are not doing well, all that kind of stuff, which is really great. Publish is going to be where you are going to be sharing out your bot. So the link that Sam shared with everyone is a demo website, and basically you get access to that with your PVA license, and it will allow you to basically take a look at what your bot's going to look like in a live scenario, kind of play around with it and test it. But you can also publish it out to your website if you want to, or in some cases, and the use case I'm building right now internally is you can also publish it out to teams. So this is another thing that was announced over the Inspire week last week, is that PVA or Power Virtual Agents are now available within Teams. And this is really, really helpful for a lot of admins out there. So if you have, let's say, a new user that you're onboarding, and there's like several things you always have to do with a new user when they come on board, right? You need to make sure they're signed up to the right teams. You need to make sure they've got access to their email, Slack, all the different items that we use in our day-to-day. So a PVA would be really, really helpful for them to basically automatically go, here's all the information that you need. If you need help, we can escalate that up and we can create like a support ticket, that kind of stuff. So many different applications. So what we'll do is I'm going to dive right into this particular one. There's a couple of really fun things in this crime and punishment bot that I have built out, such as the randomizer, which I built with the wonderful MCJ, Matt Collins-Jones. He helped me build a randomizer that basically says, I don't care what my beer tastes like, I just really want a beer. So there's some really fun stuff. And so what I'll do is I will demonstrate how this works with this track between topics option here. Oh, I think this is the test bot perfectly. So, for example, if I type the words beer me, it will basically just do a random calculation and suggest a random beer to me, which is really cool. And this is actually done using Power Automate on the back end. So over here on the right side, you're actually going to see, how the bot is translating the inputs. So first thing it's looking for a trigger phrase. And a trigger phrase is something you type in that the bot is going to understand what to do. And so it knows that beer me and just give me a damn beer, thanks. These two phrases will get you a random beer. And then what we've done is we built out the beer randomizer. So if I pop out this Power Automate, and like we said, again, being on DataFlex or the CDS or whatever it is you want to call it these days, means that all the data is shared amongst all the different various aspects of the Power Platform. And so this particular flow is super simple. It took us about a half an hour to work around because PVA is kind of fussy with how it wants return values. So you'll see here what we've done is we've basically composed a value. So it's like a random number value. Here's what we've got. We've created a variable to hold that particular value. And basically we used a switch case, and it says, if the value was 1, set that particular set the variable to random beer, and then return this particular image. So the image returning things, there is, I believe there are some updates coming to PVA in the future where they're going to be adding images in. I believe that was in the Wave 1 release notes. And so future, you won't actually have to write out a full flow to do this, but because we're doing some randomization, we would have to write a flow. So basically what this is doing is it's just using some markup language to pull an image from a public location. Previous people have used Azure Blob. Azure Blob is probably a much better location than Imgur. I don't know how to use Azure Blob, so I didn't use Azure Blob. So I'm using Imgur here to pull images from a public location. Good to admit to the things that you don't know, right?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It actually even brings people your way to help you with it, so it's always a good thing to do.
Yeah, exactly. So once the flow runs and executes, it's then returning this particular string, this random beer string. And then what I do is I just pop that particular variable into a message, and then it will display the image, which is really great. Let's take a look at, what are my trigger phrases? I don't remember. So if we take a look here at my topics, let's take a look at some of the trigger phrases we've got here. Did I not? Greeting, yes. So there's a couple of things. There's system topics and there's also user topics. System topics are things that can never ever be deleted. They are there. You can customize them as much as you like, but you can never ever delete them for good reason, because you always need a way of starting and ending a particular bot. So that's why they're not deletable. But basically, a system topic will be a greeting, an escalation, and ending, all that kind of stuff. And there's multiple different trigger phrases in here. So trigger phrases can't be edited, but you can add in some trigger phrases. Maybe you can't. I thought you could. I could be lying. I think I'm lying. So these are all the different trigger phrases that will kick off the actual automation. And then the authoring canvas here is where it will actually build out the flow of the bot as well. So I'm going to let that load real quick. So you can see it starts off by listening for these 52 different trigger agents. And then it says, oh, is everything okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if you were asking me a question.
No, it was just Brian.
And then it basically
Brian is just
relays a bunch of messages.
in the chat. He says Space Race would be an interesting game. He's talking. So he's just the one crack. You don't mind me, just go for it.
Oh, that's totally fine. And so I haven't fully customized this particular greeting yet, but I will. And once this is done, it redirects to a different topic. So the nice thing is that all the different topics are connected. So I'm going to kick this off by saying hello. And it's going to kick off this particular flow. So you can see it hits all the greens, and then it's redirecting me to the next topic, which is going to kick off the beer quiz. And it's asking me, are you drinking to get drunk today? And so you can see on the right-hand side, it's looking for a response to this particular condition. So if it's equal to true, if the person selects yes, it will go down to this one. And if they select all other conditions, which can only be no, it's going to ask them if they're drinking inside or outside. And this beer bot was actually built out with the assistance of Malin Martinez. And she is, if anyone doesn't know Malin, I didn't know this until I helped build this beer bot out with her. She helped me build out this beer bot. She knows her beer inside out. She knows all the different types of hops. She knows all the different words, the IBUs, I think they were. I don't know. I don't know beer. I really don't. Why am I building a beer bot? But she knows like all the different terminology and stuff. So she actually helped me build out a list of questions that if she was at the brewery and she was trying to decide what to drink, these are the kind of things that she would ask herself before deciding. So I thought that was really cool. So we looked at the different alcohol contents, we looked at the different hop contents, and we looked at the different kinds of hop contents as well, and the different beers that were currently available at the brewery to come up with these questions. And so in this case, I'm going to select no, because I don't want to get really, really drunk. And you can see then, because of the response, it's now kicked off to the next topic. And it's now just asking just another yes, no question. So I'm going to say I'm drinking inside today. And because of that, it's going to basically give me an option here. So it's like, hey, you've picked this particular beer. And then as I build out this particular bot, it's going to obviously display how to purchase the beer, etc., that kind of thing. So that's a very, very brief overview into Power Virtual Agents.
Oh, that is more than, this is like a deep dive into it, giving us all the, in and out of it. So one interesting thing someone will ask, so how long did it take you to get this going?
Wow, minutes. So the cool thing about Power Virtual Agents is it's by far the easiest form of the Power Platform to implement, in my opinion. You can have, when you load up Power Virtual Agent, you load up your first bot. Everything's already pre-built for you. So technically you already have a semi-functioning PVA when you start out. And it also comes with some dummy questions, so such as store hours and that kind of thing. So literally within minutes, this particular bot has taken me maybe 3 hours of work so far. And that's because a lot of it has been just me researching how to do things, like researching how to build a flow, researching how to add images, all that kind of stuff. So you can spin up a PVA very, very quickly, but also they can get very, very complex very quickly. So kind of the same with anything, really.
Awesome. So next question is, what next? What are some of the additions you're planning to have, or add to this particular agent?
Yeah, so my plan is to basically present this first iteration of the bot to the Crime and Punishment crew, hopefully within the next week or two, get their feedback on it, and also try and teach them how to use it because it is quite simple. It'd be better if they can update what beers are on tap themselves rather than relying on an admin, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But from a Power Virtual Agent perspective overall, there's a couple of different things I have in the works with Mary Thompson.
Okay.
So we did build a choose your own adventure bot for kids, which unfortunately we lost because our trial ran out. So make sure you extend your trial.
Trials, yeah.
Make sure you keep an eye on your trial limit because we lost all of our work. However, it wasn't too bad. Once we'd learned how to build topics and how to build a flow, like the hardest part of building the choose your own adventure bot is literally figuring out the different key components. And what we want to do is we want to basically expand that into like maybe a mini RPG where using a DataFlex Pro on the back end to store certain values such as like your HP, like your hit points, or like, you know, different kind of aspects to your character, that kind of thing. I think that could be really fun. But even further on from that, our plan is to basically do a PVA in a day kids version. So I personally want to do a session here with kids in Philadelphia because the school stuff is still up in the air. People don't know when kids are going back to school. Yeah. But I think it's so simple that I could teach children how to build their own choose your own adventure Power Virtual Agent and hopefully get them interested in tech and how tech works and show them how actually easy the no code, low code solution is.
So, you know, Brian Dang just, you know, was just talking about the fact that, yes, he's just talking about the fact that, you know, the logical branching in PVA, it's actually a good thing, a good way to, you know, teach kids about conditional logics and flow and all that. And, you know, Brian is Brian, you know, was a teacher, so he's a huge fan of kids and using technology. So I think you should hit him up. And he's saying that hit point, kids love games. So you should connect with Brian, and I'm telling you, you guys are going to have an awesome time.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love to. I've spoken with Brian a couple of times. He's been a massive supporter of the Global Pub Quiz as well, Brian. So thank you so much. You are awesome.
Awesome. Well, so what is the next PVA apart from, you know, the kids stuff? So like Donna always says, what's the homework for myself and the viewers and all of us? What's our homework to get this rocking?
So I think that Power Virtual Agent is more than just a chatbot where you can basically say, oh, what's the store hours? How do I submit a ticket? Like there's so much more to this that can be done. I'd really love to see people come up with really creative solutions for this because A, it's super simple to work with. B, it's so connected in with the DataFlex backend that pretty much anything is possible. So I'd like to challenge people to come up with things that, you know, in their day-to-day life or maybe local businesses or something like that, where they could see Power Virtual Agent actually making an impact and actually improving interactions and hopefully maybe even assisting with the COVID crisis right now. Because I think there's so many different applications. And I think the one of the art gallery that I mentioned from yesterday is an amazing example of that. I think they just, they could make it a little bit better. It had some issues, but yeah, so challenge people to kind of think about Power Virtual Agents outside of the box, not just as, you know, an assistant to a store. See what else you can apply it to.
Awesome. So, well, there you have it, folks. You've heard it from her herself. You know, she did it. You can do it. You know, I'm thinking of what to do. Like, I have a lot of things with beer already. So I'm just thinking, how can I, you know, make this, you know, move this in a different way? Well, Emma, thank you so much for sharing this awesomeness with us. I'll be following closely to see what you build, you know, up on this. Okay, Emma's homework, think of PVA outside the box and see what you can apply. So that's what Brian is saying. Think of what, you know, PVA can do outside the box and then apply it to it. Think about games for kids. Go for it, Emma.
Yes. It could solve the decades-long question that men and women have struggled to answer for years and years and years, and that is, what are we going to eat for dinner tonight?
actually, Mariano, is it Mariano? I think Brian mentioned that, you know, that he can now use the randomizer to determine what to have for lunch and dinner.
Yep, exactly. Maybe pull in some location services to restaurants that are nearby. There's so many different options.
Yeah. Well, there we have it, folks. Thanks to Emma, who shared a lot of stuff for us today. She's giving you all the pointers, all the good stuff you want. You can go to aka.ms.trypva, and you can take it for a spin. Like you heard her say, she just was figuring things out as she was building it. So all you need is the idea of what you can build. There's a lot of great content on the Microsoft Learn website and the Microsoft documentations and all that to help you get into it. So I would urge you all, take the homework, go do it, and share it with me. You can share with at my on my handle. Emma, can you just flip to just your camera so we can get you back in shot for the dual screen, so they can see you
Yes.
properly.
Oh, my camera's not being shared. I'm sorry. I thought
No,
it was.
we can see it, but then, now I want you to stop the sharing so we can just see your camera, because I want them to see your Twitter handle, so that when they do the homework, they can
Sure.
actually tweet at us. Mine is at Esadrani, and then MS is at Tattoo TRM Girl. So you can share your homework with us, what you've built, and then hey, let's have fun.
Yes,
let's help share ideas and make this world a better place with both with technology and, as always, a glass of beer. Well, till then, thank you very much for being a wonderful audience. Oh, Emma, thank you very much for your time. Without much ado,
absolutely.
be safe, stick to your families and friends, love each other. And Emma, go grab yourself that cold beer that you said you're going to have, and let's make this day a better day. So till then, guys, next week, have a great day. Awesome, awesome experience, and stick and stay with us next week. Adios.